This is number 8. The past returns. The streets in the city are made of brick, forming a checkerboard for the German-eyed play. Hessen is much more attuned to the city than I am. He maneuvers the truck with jerky turns through the narrow streets, only jumping the truck over the curb once. We are looking for 2 specific catch basins that hold water. 2 in the entire city. Needles in the urban haystack. Turning onto a new block, the German becomes nervous again. We are in the wrong place. This is a bad place, he says. Why's that, I say, shuffling the map around in my lap. My empty coffee cup falls on the floor. Bad things have happened here. Like what, gangs? No, murder. Strange murders. We drive around the block and he tells us the story. He tells the story. The thump of the tires on brick adds a rhythm to it. The houses stand like old dollar bills that once had value, but are wrinkled and faded. A year ago, a man went crazy as men will do. His woman upset him, divorced and cheated. He killed his ex-wife's mother with a knife, then his son. He drove with them in his car, the bodies leaking blood into puddles in the black back seat. The dead son was strapped in safe and sound in his car seat. The son could have been sleeping, but he wasn't. The man drove with them for hours and hours through the night, a family car ride, something that could have been but failed to be. In the early morning, he dropped them off at his ex-wife's house. He laid them gently on the front porch. As the German and I drive, he informs me that we are driving on the same block that years ago the madman had taken his night ride. We are lost, and the German points to an old house, a house that had once been classy. That is the house, the final resting place for a grandmother and son in the suicide of a broken man. I look up at the peeling paint and see that in this part of the city, the past tries to live. Living ghosts walk the streets in the day and place flowers in the porch, even years later. We pull away and find our catch basins. They are a few blocks down. I treat them with some larvicide and notice a few old gray cigarette butts floating on top of the water. It must have been the madman's, because in this area, the bricks on the street are from the past, and here the past lives in the shadows, waiting. Catch basins are a man-made invention that keep flooding from the streets and moving underground. The mosquitoes flock to them as breeding places. A perfect car seat in which to keep their young safe from what lies above on the street. The male mosquito never returns to see his young or the female he is mated with. The males are bigger and stronger and more dangerous looking and exist for the sole purpose of breeding. They are animals and know that it is better not to return. All right, this is my last one, guys. Again, thank you all for coming. I'm sure everybody really appreciates having this quite full audience up here. I think we're all going out afterwards too, like say-tap or something, so you guys should all come and hang out and have a good time, because I'm sure you're all good people. This is the last one. This is number 10. The man who stares at shit. It was all because of the cheese factory. The German and I followed the rolling hill to a property next to the Schistler cheese factory. It is a fancy factory that makes fancy cheese. We approached the house from the rear of the property, and the problem is obvious. A large, low area at the base of the property is flooded and soggy. The grass is growing greener than the surrounding land. The German and I investigate. The cheese factory is run by Germans. For once, Hessen's phobia and his fear of people has lifted, if only for a brief moment. As we walk closer, our feet begin to sink into the soft earth. A foul smell rises with each step, and the water that rises up is gray. I feel the putrid water rush through the holes in my boots, the boots of many memories, memories of a life before becoming known as the Mosquito Man, a modest life where the boots did not serve any real purpose in the day. Now they have become essential tools in a daily routine. The The German motions for me to stay back. The water becomes deeper, and he knows the conditions my boots are in and their sacredness to me. No other boots would make sense in the world. The boots travel with me, holding me steady through many adventures. The only time they are worn is when rough terrain is expected, and for that, they serve as trusting companions. No others will suffice. We hear a whistle, a call. The German looks at me. There are people watching us. He motions for me to go talk to them and heads back to the truck, shaking the water off his seamless boots. The man's house lies at the top of the hill next to the factory. I must walk through the foul water to make it to the other side and up the hill. My socks are sponges. Flies buzz around my head, and the moist heat mixes with the stench of the water, triggering a brief, eye-watering choke. The man and his wife are sitting on their back porch. He is gray and old, but not tired. He is on fire from the inside out, the flame showing through his eyes, even from a distance. As I come closer, I see that he holds a glass in one hand and pats a dog with the other. He does not rise to shake my hand. A stroke, he explains. The little black poodle sits on his lap, watching me with curiosity. His name is Harley. I explain what I am there to do. I am there to help with his mosquito problem. He motions with his glass towards the cheese factory parking lot bordering his property. The land has been scaled up, and a large drain pipe points towards the musty water. It's the damn cheese factory. The glass in his hand is filled with an amber liquid. He sees me eyeing it. I'd offer you some scotch if you weren't working. You look of age. I am, and then some. I have a middle school education, but I don't need a PhD to see that this cheese factory is the root of the issue. What we have here is a health hazard. How so, sir? I can treat the water, and that will help control the mosquitoes for a month or more. I don't have any damn mosquito problems. I can sit out here all day and not get bit by a single skeeter. His wife nods in agreement. She doesn't say a whole lot. The man is the fire, and she is the water. My problem, he continues, is my own shit. I look at him confused. That seems to be a personal problem. All that water down there. He points again with his scotch glass and crooked finger. That's my own shit. I sit out here all day and look at my own shit flood out the goddamn septic tank. I'm 78 years old, and I have to look at my own shit when all I want is peace in my twilight years. I wiggle my toes in my soaked socks. The boots of memory have not failed in a total sense. They serve as reminders that the shit will always get through eventually. It's only a matter of time. The fucking cheese factory is the issue. Their drainage from the parking lot comes right down here and floods my septic tank. I have a middle school education, I can tell you that. I see, sir. I'll see what I can do. I'll let my boss know the situation. And what is it that you can do? I'm only the mosquito control specialist. All I can do is larvicide the water to help control the mosquito population. That's all? That's all. He looks down at his drink and pets Harley, who has been following the conversation intensely. He must not like the man's shit either. I promise you that I'll let my boss know. That's as much as I can do. I'm sorry to hear that the cheese factory causes all this. You're telling me their cheese sucks to begin with. What's your name again? I didn't catch it. I'll write it down so when your boss calls, I can tell him you were here. I'm Neil, I say. I turn to leave, and his wife rises from her seat to see me off the deck, but she remains silent. The whole cheese factory and shit situation speaks for itself. As I leave, I cut a wide path around the poop water. Mosquitoes seek to lay their young in the most septic of places. The decaying matter allows them to grow hardy and produce young that grow faster and rise to the adult world stronger than most. They require around 10 days or so to develop from the larva or wriggler stage to the pupa stage, then on to become adults. In septic conditions and warm weather, that time can be cut in half. They don't need a middle school education to succeed. Thank you all very much.